Hi, everybody. My name is Ben Collins Asongwe. I am the founder and CEO of BC Advantage LLC. This is a company that I founded 2 years ago that exists at the intersection of purpose and AI innovation. AI by itself is just a tool, right? Fundamentally, it depends on how you use it. So, about 2 years ago, I founded this company to help guide individuals and businesses, right? Align purpose. What are you trying to achieve? What are you trying to do? Align that purpose with technology, right? Especially artificial intelligence. We're in an era where a lot of things are accelerating, a lot of things are evolving because of artificial intelligence. But our strategy and our approach is to start with the individual, right? Is to start with that purpose. It sounds simple, but we find that a lot of individuals and businesses struggle to articulate right this purpose. So that's where we come in. The business provides three services essentially. The first is consulting. As consultants, it's about solving problems, right? So we approach every situation with curiosity. We approach, situations from a zoomed out perspective. What is the bigger picture? And then help steer and guide and, apply different strategies to help resolve the problems in any industry. The second thing we do is coaching. We coach individuals and businesses as well, again, towards finding that purpose, right, and aligning that purpose, with strategy, but empowering self, right? Because at the end of the day, this journey, this life's journey, is about you, the individual. The highs and the lows all compound right towards our experiences. There is a chart, and I'm gonna try to put it in this video that perfectly sums up kind of my view on life. Right? It's sort of a and this is gonna be for the math geeks out there. It's an equation. It's an integral, right? Life is equal to the integral of when you were born, when you die, right? Denoting sort of that passage of time. And for us, for me specifically, the ultimate goal is to make sure that you can maximize, right? If we think about having a fraction, to maximize the amount of time that we have on earth to spend it doing the things that we love. So I love people and I love technology. Those were my motivators to launching this business about 2 years ago. And again, the impact we've had an impact so far across the globe, and it's so humbling, it's so rewarding to see people transform. Because of our interactions, because of our consulting, because of our coaching. The last thing that the business does is we build AI products. So we have a GPT out there called BCAI, and it lives on the ChatGPT platform, which quite a few people are unaware of the fact that ChatGPT has a store. It's you can find that uh, in the GPT store. If you look at the left sidebar where you find your conversation histories with ChatGPT, one of the buttons says GPTs or explore GPTs. When you click on that, the equivalent is, if you have an iPhone, this is the App Store. If you have a Google phone, this is the Play Store. So ChatGPT has a store, and you can go there and find, right? If you search for BCAI, you can find our in-house agent. We also partner with other companies and organizations as well whose purpose and mission are aligned with ours. And again, ours very plainly is to empower individuals, right, and businesses to combine purpose with AI innovation. So we have a partnership as well with Gamma. What Gamma does is an AI powered PowerPoint presentation tool. It's a new medium and a new way of presenting your ideas, right? If you've ever been stuck, or those moments where you're trying to put together a presentation, you're trying to put together a slide, and it's a lot about imaging and structuring things on the page and all of those nuances. You can use a tool like Gamma to accelerate that process, right? AI is an accelerator. AI is an amplifier. It amplifies essentially the things that you're trying to do. That's why, again, it's important to start with purpose, right? Because if you don't start with purpose and you jump right into AI, all it does is magnify, right, a lot of the inaccuracies, a lot of the biases that already exist, and it could lead to a lot of frustration and lack of productivity. But when you start with a clear purpose, then everything else that you do after that kind of aligns. So the reason why I'm doing this call today, OpenAI recently restructured, right? OpenAI, the parent company for ChatGPT, is a nonprofit organization, and they recently restructured from that nonprofit organization into they restructured to include a for-profit arm of their business, right? So the nonprofit arm of OpenAI is going to have, I think, a large majority, a controlling majority in the for-profit arm, but they're moving again away from the traditional, hey, we're a nonprofit organization, we're only going to do research and all these other things, now to saying, hey, maybe we can incentivize people, maybe we can do a public benefit corporation, right, whose mission again is for profit, right, and use profit as sort of an incentive, to reward good behavior and reward some other activities that will help folks again engage with different tools that would help folks kind of empower themselves, right? So when they released that, they made that recent announcement. I believe it was sometime last week. For us at BC Advantage, it was sort of a validation, right? We've been building for the past 2 years. We are a for-profit business, right? We started as a for-profit business. So it was sort of a validation to see this, company that we've admired, so much and have been building with, right, for the past 2 years, kind of pivot, right? This is kind of they're ushering in a new era, and it is sort of a validation to see that the path that we have been on, right, is sort of aligning as well, with this new direction. And, really excited to see where the future will lead. I will drop a link below to the article that, I wrote, just kind of exploring what this means, right? From, hey, this is why OpenAI was founded. Their soul and their mission is to build tools for creation, right? Is to build these systems, is to build agentic, networks that empower, right, individuals and businesses to achieve their goals, to perform a variety of things, right? And we already see or saw that alignment between what their goal and what their purpose was and what we, right, were doing at BC Advantage LLC, right? So on one hand, you have OpenAI saying, hey, we exist because we want to build these tools, these tech tools, right, for creation that then gives the power to individuals and businesses to create, right? To create a future, to create, tools in addition to that. And then you have us, right? On the other hand, BC Advantage LLC that's saying, all right, we think tech is great, but a good place to always start is with purpose, right? It's with why. So working with individuals, working with businesses to say, hey, the tech is great, but you got to start with why, right? So we're really excited for this. Really excited to see where the future is going to lead. Um, I personally, if I'm gonna wager on this, I'm thinking that this is going to lead to a lot of entrepreneurs, right, and people taking more risk, people going out there and being creative essentially, right? It's going to motivate a lot of entrepreneurship, at all levels, which again, one of the other things that I'm very passionate about, we're very passionate about at BC Advantage, is equity, right? Equity is not about giving everybody the same solution or the same tool. It's about giving people what they need, right? So you have to narrow down or key in on specific circumstance and specific situation and align those specific circumstances and situations with opportunities that let people thrive, right? So it was quite a I guess again a validation for me personally, really overjoyed by this. And again, looking forward to kind of seeing how things play out. I strongly believe that intent and purpose are the guiding forces, are the compass, essentially, to this new era. It's going to take a lot of, again, new ideas. Uh, Technology as we have today has not existed, right? I think the other kind of misconception, right, is that, hey, the technology, maybe just a few very technical people really understand this stuff, really should be at the forefront of this stuff. But what I love about this era, right, is that no, the gates are open, right, to anybody to kind of explore these tools, to be curious, right? Ask all the questions, because at times I think what we struggle with again is asking those fundamental questions. Now we have tools with which we can engage with. We can ask 1,001 questions and not be judged, right, based on our questions. So it really is quite a unique time, and we look forward to just kind of nurturing this and growing with this and helping again play a part in ushering this new era that we're kind of gonna go into. So one of the there's a couple of reasons why I'm doing this live, and one of them is just we're coming up into end of year, right? This is almost the end of the year 2025. I don't know about you, but it's been quite the year. There's been so many things that have happened, both at the local level, at the federal level, at the world, kind of level. In the United States, for example, we had a new president this year. I'm also originally from Cameroon, and we got to see this year the re-election of a 92-year-old, president who's going to run or rule now for the next, 7 years. Very interesting, kind of occurrence, I guess you would say. Uh, and then for me, also personally, this year saw the birth of my first child, my daughter. And it's been quite a humbling experience, and just seeing her grow and seeing her mature gives a lot of purpose, and clarity to the work that we're doing here at the company. To kind of create that legacy, right, for her. It's sort of a blueprint and a template, not for what she should do, right, necessarily, but for something that's gonna guide her, right, give her a sense of equity, if you will, in her making her decisions, right, informed, equity-driven decisions. She will have the knowledge. I cannot imagine what artificial intelligence is going to be like in her time, but certainly these are the foundations that we're setting and we're building, towards that new kind of era. So 2025 has been quite an interesting year, I would say. There's been births and deaths. We recognize some of the people who have departed right at this point. The war that is going on around the globe, um, at every single second, every single day. The irony is life is balanced, right? There is as much good as there is bad. And every day we just soldier forward. We put our best foot forward, and try to grow, right, and evolve with as many people, right, as possible, making a positive impact, right, in their lives. So as I reflect on the year, I I am filled with a sense of gratitude. I'm filled with a sense of pride. I am grateful to our clients, our partners. I'm grateful for friends, right, who've supported the business. Most especially family, right? Grateful for family, grateful for the support. When our daughter was born, we were surrounded with family, and it was those moments that you really didn't know that you needed that kind of love and you needed, that warmth. So, as the year is kind of drawing to a close and we're sitting and reflecting on, what 2025 has been, it's quite humbling. And I wanted to use this opportunity to extend that heartfelt thank you to each and every person who has, again, supported us, supported BC Advantage, supported my family through these transitions. And I can only hope that the impact that we've had as well in your lives, right, has been positive, right, has been uplifting, has been one that has caused, you to sit back and think about things differently and be inspired, right, and motivated you to put your best foot forward in any and everything that you kind of engaged in. So one of the things right now, pivoting and coming back to artificial intelligence, I've been personally using, artificial intelligence, a variety of them, ChatGPT, BCAI, Claude, Meta AI, Grok, you name it. I am immersed, right, in that AI space. But one of the things, right, the GPT, or the LLM, I should say, the large language model that I use most is ChatGPT, and that's, for a variety of reasons, but one of them being because I'm a builder with ChatGPT. So I got to ask ChatGPT recently. I thought of a question and I said, because it has that historical context, I said, hey, I've been using Right AI for the past 2 years. What is my ROI, my return on investment, right? Part of the reason I asked that question is because if you've also read anything in the news recently, there's a lot of talk about an AI bubble, right? What is an AI bubble? Uh, as it is explained currently, an AI bubble, and likened to the dot-com bubble, is when things pop, right? This kind of imaginary castle that people have been building about what AI should do, kind of pops, right? And it's almost like the rug is pulled from under your feet, and then you're left with, hey, I thought AI was a great tool. There was all this hype about it, and then poof, it's all gone, and you don't really, you haven't gotten as much, back from your time invested. Because again, we go back to that mathematical equation, right? Time is your greatest asset. It's not money, right? It's not wealth, it's time and how you spend your time. So the talk about this bubble is about the fear that, hey, artificial intelligence has been hyped to be all these things, but is it really going to be, right? Is it, right? Or is it going to be all these things that it's hyped up to be? And again, you see that this is why our approach is, it starts with purpose. Now you can live your purpose, right, without an artificial intelligence tool, right? But again, it starts with that purpose. What are you trying to achieve? Why are you trying to achieve that thing? And then you layer in, right? Technology comes in as an amplifier of that purpose, right? So seeing all these headlines and seeing all this news, I asked myself, right? This AI bubble, what has been my ROI, my personal ROI, as the CEO of BC Advantage LLC, and I thought the response, ChatGPT's response, was very insightful. And part of the reason why I would ask a question like that to ChatGPT and not BCAI is because ChatGPT has long-term memory, right? It's able to remember. If you ask ChatGPT, what were we talking about 1 year ago? ChatGPT, because of long-term memory, will be able to dig in and tell you, right? Now, BCAI is not designed, right? As the user, you can play with settings and things like that, but by design, it is meant to be here. It's meant to be present, right? It's meant to answer your question irrespective of whether you are a CEO, irrespective of kind of what that long-term, right, history is. Arguably there is some bias in long-term memory, so it is designed to be mindful, to be analytical, to be empathetic, to be in the moment, right? So it is interpreting your request just based on now, right? On the back end, it updates and improves itself, right? It learns, and things like that. But if you ask it a question like, again, what were we talking about 1 year ago? It'll ask you, hey, tell me more, right? Give me more context. Whereas ChatGPT, on the other hand, has that long-term memory and can just, kind of reference and refer to it. So that's why I asked ChatGPT this question and not BCAI. So I want to share kind of what ChatGPT said, just because, again, for me, right, it was very insightful, right? And for somebody like me, again, hearing about this AI bubble really doesn't make sense because of that ROI and because of the things that I have personally experienced, because of my AI journey. So here I'm sharing my screen. Okay. So the question I asked, as you can see here, was, I've been all in on AI for the past couple of years. What has been my ROI, right? And for everybody out there, this is a good prompt, right? I highly and strongly encourage you to try this yourself and see kind of what your ROI has been. I think this question is multi-layered because it also will reveal how you have been using the tool, right? And kind of what your again benefits and things like that are. For me, it was very insightful. So ChatGPT responds and says, "That's a powerful question and a timely one. When we look at your ROI on being all in on AI, the return isn't just financial, it's multi-dimensional." Okay, let's break it down across four key categories that reflect your journey so far. So the four categories are knowledge and capability ROI, you have a brand and network ROI, you have a systems and productivity ROI, and then finally the fourth pillar, the fourth layer there is an emotional and vision ROI. Okay. So over the past 2 years, you've gone from exploring AI tools to building a functional AI ecosystem, including your custom GPT BCAI, shout out to BCAI, which embodies your personal and business philosophy. You've also, number one, designed educational frameworks like the AI Fluency Program for nonprofits. You've integrated AI into consulting workflows, client onboarding, and content creation. You gain hands on experience with large language models, automation, and agentic AI, knowledge that now differentiates you as both a strategist and an educator, and that is 100% correct. So the return there, it kind of sums it up is you've converted curiosity into mastery. Your learning curve now functions as intellectual capital, reusable and monetizable. And I was especially glad, right, about that last part because, right, that this is essentially my business, right? This is the knowledge and experiences that I've accumulated right over time, right? That kind of leads to again designing these programs, that leads to consulting, client relationships, that leads to being kind of that subject matter expert, when it comes to, hey, I'm not just talking about this thing, I actually have experience, right, in doing all these things. um, so this that was the first pillar. The second pillar, right, which is about brand and network ROI. So you've established BC Advantage LLC as a purpose-driven consulting firm, blending human intent with AI, right? You've built a LinkedIn presence that draws partners and mentees. You've collaborated with institutions like UT Dallas and projects like, Lab to Doctor and Ethiopia Cafe, positioning BC Advantage as an early mover in ethical AI consulting. You've become a recognizable voice advocating for equity through innovation. And in summary, there it's saying the return is brand trust, thought leadership, credibility, and a global professional network. These are all compounding assets. When I reflect back on my 2 years, I have been to about 12 or 13 countries, right? And the reason why I did that is to kind of be on the ground, right? To see you have all the statistics. Obviously, you have they're talking about going back to this thing about the bubble, right? What you hear or what you read online versus what is on the ground are two separate things. Usually, through my travels and through my experiences, I have noticed that, again, the statistics are, not to say the statistics are not accurate, but I think the statistics don't always accurately represent the realities on the ground, right? So, it's been, it's been an interesting journey, going there to all these different countries, meeting people where they are, having some of these hard questions, right, about, again, their purpose, about their values, where they're going, but also, having the opportunity to share, right, what we're about, what I'm about, and, have been working on for the past 2 years. And again, obviously has been kind of reflected there in that comment. The third pillar is systems and productivity. So AI has amplified your output. You've automated repetitive work, accelerated document creation, designed multi format content, so emails, proposals, decks, visuals, and even delegated tasks to BCAI. One of the tasks, right? BCAI has its own page, its own LinkedIn page, right? And because of its agentic features, it's able to go out there, right, and manage this page and engage, right, by itself. And again, to do that, it's had to have a lot of training, right, in that design about its purpose and things like that. But now it's able to go out there, right, and I'm quite personally impressed by the work that it's done, and that it's doing. uh, if we conservatively estimate AI saves you 10 to 15 hours per week at, here the current billing rate, $200 an hour for consulting, that's about 100 to 150K a year in time value alone. So even before accounting for strategic compounding. So the kind of larger summary there is massive productivity and focus leverage, the kind that scales a solo founder into an ecosystem. And this is one of the things that we're building, right, and have been building at BC Advantage, is that ecosystem of partners, that alliance, right, of like-minded individuals and businesses, right, who are as driven, right, as we are, and these partners benefit from the latest announcements in text. They benefit from the latest things that we are doing at BC Advantage. They benefit from our network, right? Think about, again, 13 plus countries, um, you know different projects and things like that. So definitely, right, that ecosystem has been laid out, right? The systems, the structure and things like that have been laid out, that our partners are able to benefit from, as a result of this productivity boost. The fourth thing, right, that it kind of says here is, finally, we go into the emotional and vision ROI part. It says, finally, the intangible yet invaluable side is, you've turned AI into a mirror of your purpose, a tool that helps others find their why. Right? You stayed future ready and resilient through uncertainty. You've inspired others to reimagine technology as a force for equity, not exclusion. And in summary, there's been fulfillment. Definitely agree on that. Alignment, legacy. This is kind of what I was talking about earlier when I was thinking about my daughter, and the blueprint, right, that has been laid out for her to be able to make those equity-driven decisions, right? So there's been fulfillment, alignment, and legacy, right, which are the foundation for long-term impact. So just further down, it breaks it down. It gives the overall ROI summary. I was just personally, I was really blown by this. I was really impressed, right? And coming back again to that point of, is AI, when I personally hear that, is AI a bubble, I kind of go, depends on how you use it, right? AI is data, and true, there's good data and there's bad data. but fundamentally, it depends on how you use this data, right? So as we kind of come to a close of the year, this was a good opportunity of reflection, of gratitude, of appreciation for this journey and what it's been, and also looking forward to what the future, right, is going to be, and looking forward, especially, I'm going to say this, looking forward to, there's still kind of a blocker. I think a lot of people are still unsure, right, about how artificial intelligence can benefit them, right? Artificial intelligence cuts across the board. It doesn't matter if you're, a mathematician. It doesn't matter if you're a scientist or an accountant. It cuts across the board, right? There has to be, from your end, a willingness, right, to contribute and participate in shaping, right? Because the other thing about this tool is that it learns, right? It's not perfect. And we are building towards something called AGI, which is artificial general intelligence. The other reason why I was excited about OpenAI's recent restructuring, right? Because as we're building towards AGI, we need tools, we need strategies that represent all of us in one way or the other. And we, as people, are complex. We are far and wide, and, you know, we are divergent of thought. And so it's important that we participate in shaping this tool, into what works for us, how we think, right? And the compounding of these activities, right, will shape the tool in one way or the other, hopefully positively. So, irrespective of what domain you're in, what field you're in, just, the other fear that people have is with AI taking away your job, right? Start there. Express those fears and say to a tool, any tool, right? Hey, I am, insert your field. How is artificial intelligence going to affect said field? And you'll be surprised. You'd be surprised what you'd learn, right? Knowledge never ends. Learning never ends. You have to stay curious, right? And again, reach out. You have organizations like mine who are out there to help you navigate this new journey. The growth and change kind of don't go together, right? But the only constant in life is change. Sometimes that change is slow and gradual, but the change will come eventually, right? Because the other thing where we're kind of leading into or going into is blockchain, right? Blockchain technology. That's something that a lot of people don't still quite understand yet, especially because with blockchain technology is associated with cryptocurrency. Some people see cryptocurrency as a scam, right? Some people don't really understand it. There's a lot of math right behind it. There's a lot of computer science, networks and things like that. It's a subject that requires, the same way you go study economics or go study accounting or finance, you can study, right, blockchain technology. I personally think there is a correlation between, right, from a human perspective, you have your mind, you have the neural neurons in your brain that fire signals, right, that communicate with each other. And this is how we're able to think. This is how we're able to understand each other, because essentially I'm making a series of sounds with my mouth and your brain is interpreting that, and there's understanding. that comes out of it. So I think there's a correlation between those neurons in your brain in artificial intelligence, right? The reason it's called artificial intelligence is because it's a mirror, right, of human intelligence. So in artificial intelligence, you talk about the neural network. The neural network is essentially, again, this probability tree, right? How does an LLM system get from point A to point B, right? It makes a series of probability calculations, right, of what comes next. And that just compounds, and you can kind of trace that, right? You can interpret, why it did certain things, and all those things form that neural network, right? And now with the blockchain technology, or with cryptocurrency, you have the blockchain technology. Cryptocurrency, the blockchain is what powers, cryptocurrency. But the blockchain, as it sounds, right? I know I'm again simplifying a lot of really complex topics here, but the blockchain is kind of you can think of, you have a block, you have another block, and what kind of connects them, right? What are those things that make them similar? What are those things that make them aligned? Which again kind of goes to the neural network, right? A series of, you can think about it as a probability tree. You start here, and then you kind of make decisions, based on different factors, but you can always trace back, right? So with the blockchain, you can essentially see where things start, and you have a clear path, to where they go. So I think those three things have a mirror: the neurons in our brain, um, the neural network, right? And again, the blockchain. I think those things are all kind of intertwined. So as we're kind of building towards the future, it is critical, right, to immerse yourself, to understand, right, some of these concepts that may seem foreign, but now we have the tools, right, at our disposal to help process and understand, right, some of these things. And again, we are here, right, as a business, to facilitate, right, some of these understandings, to guide, right, individuals and businesses towards some of these strategic, directions. We hope to carry and take as many people as possible, as we kind of move into this future. The other thing I like to point out is, if you think 100 years from now, what the future is going to be like, sometimes that kind of thinking helps give your current decisions perspective, right? Think, if we are able to freeze this moment and you reflect back 100 years in the past, if you went back with your cell phone, or if you went back with your laptop 100 years back, you know, they may look at you as a mad person, right? And you will be speaking, or you will understand things in a way that will be abstract. So at times things may not make sense now, but when you look at them from a future perspective, it puts a lot of things right into alignment. Something like, again, we go back to the blockchain and cryptocurrency. In the future, 100 years from now, when space travel is going to be a thing, you're not gonna be going to space with dollars. You're not going to be going to space with euros. You're not going to be going to space with fiat currency, right? So currency is going to evolve as a natural consequence of, this evolution, of this, kind of progression, right, of where we're going. So I'm going to stop here. I thank you for your time. I thank you for, tuning in and listening to this message. I want to wish you a happy Thanksgiving in advance. I hope you have a wonderful time with family, with friends. I hope you're able to disconnect and just immerse yourself right in being present and enjoying those moments. Because again, that's life, right? You have to slow down enough to take in, right, some of those precious moments and those opportunities that you get to rest and recoup. So, wish you certainly a happy Thanksgiving, and a Merry Christmas and Happy New Year in advance. So, see you guys on the next video.